The wait between polling and counting of votes in election is always a nail-biting period for politicians and electors. While in the current assembly election period in Tamil Nadu, the gap between voting, April 23rd, and counting, May 4th, is only 10 days, there have been instances where such waiting period lasted over 30 days. The 1967 Madras State Legislative Assembly election, a watershed moment that rewrote the state's political destiny as the DMK dethroned the Congress, was held following a delimitation exercise. The number of constituencies was expanded from 206 to 234. The polling took place in 3 phases on February 15th, February 18th, and February 21st. However, only 233 seats went for polling. Polling in Tirumangalam constituency in Madurai was cancelled due to the death of a candidate and held on April 29th that year. Counting for the main phases commenced on February 23rd. The 1971 Assembly election also spanned 3 days. Voters headed to polling booths on March 1st, March 4th, and March 7th, while counting began on March 10th. The DMK secured a massive majority and M. Karunanidhi retained power. In June 1975, the Indira Gandhi government at the centre had promulgated the emergency, and the following January, the DMK government was dismissed. By 1977, when the state went to polls, the dynamics had shifted. After being expelled from the DMK, actor M.G. Ramachandran, MGR, had floated the ADMK, later rechristened AIADMK, in 1972. For the first time, Tamil Nadu, all 234 constituencies voted on June 12th, and counting concluded on June 14th. MGR captured power. Despite the success of the single-day format, the state reverted to a 2-phase contest for the 1980 elections, held following the MGR government's dismissal. On May 28th, 114 assembly segments voted, while electors in 120 constituencies exercised their franchise on May 31st. The results were declared on June 1st and MGR returned as Chief Minister. Breaking away from the tradition of pre-summer or summer polls established since 1967, the 1984 election was the first to be held at the year's end. With MGR hospitalized, his cabinet opted for an early election. Simultaneously at the centre, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi sought a fresh mandate following the assassination of his mother and Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. A total of 232 seats went to polls on December 24th. Polling in Egmore, SC, and Perambur, SC, now general seat, were countermanded due to candidate deaths and eventually took place the following January 28th. The results for the 232 assembly segments were declared on December 28th, in which the AIADMK secured a third consecutive victory. By 1989, the state was plunged into political turmoil. The death of MGR in 1987 resulted in his widow Janaki Ramachandran and protege J. Jayalalitha heading AIADMK factions. Out of 234 segments, 232 voted on January 21st. Polling in Marangapuri and Madurai East was deferred to March 11th due to candidate deaths. Counting for the 232 constituencies was held on January 22nd, and the DMK returned to power after 13 years. No election in Tamil Nadu carries a more tragic history than 1991. The state was slated to vote on May 26th. However, on the night of May 21st, former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated in Sriperumbudur. The Election Commission postponed Tamil Nadu's polling to June 15th. Barring Egmore SC and Mussoorie, 232 segments went for polling and results were declared on June 16th. The AIA-DMK Congress alliance swept the polls and Jayalalitha became Chief Minister for the first time. The 1996 Assembly election was the last in the state in which ballot papers were used. Polling was held in 150 constituencies on April 27th and in 83 seats on May 2nd. The results were declared on May 8th, with the DMK-TMC alliance securing a landslide victory. Voting in Modakkurichi was held only on June 1st as 1,033 candidates had filed their nominations, making printing of ballot papers difficult. For the first time in Tamil Nadu's history, the electronic voting machines (EVMs) were deployed in all the 234 assembly segments in the 2001 assembly elections, mirroring simultaneous rollouts in Kerala, Puducherry and West Bengal. The state went to the polls on May 10th in a single phase and results were declared on May 13th. The AIA-DMK stormed back to power. The 2006 assembly elections in the state was held on May 8th when all the 234 assembly segments went on polling. The results were announced on May 11th and Karunanidhi formed the government without outside support from allies. The longest gap between polling and counting in the state's electoral history was in 2011. Polling was held on April 13th. Since the Election Commission was coordinating multi-state schedules, voters had to wait till May 13th to see Jayalalitha getting elected. Notably, the DMDK, led by actor Vijayakant, whose party aligned with the AIA-DMK, came second. The 2016 assembly elections was a multi-cornered battle that saw the AIA-DMK fielding candidates on its symbol in all 234 seats. In all, 232 seats went to polls on May 16th, and when votes were counted on May 19th, Jayalalitha retained power. Voting for Aravakurichi and Tanjavur, where polling was for the first time deferred citing large-scale voter bribery, was held only on November 19. The 2021 assembly election was fought under the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic. Voters exercised their franchise amidst mandatory safety protocols and extended polling hours. Despite these hurdles, the state recorded 73.63% turnout on April 6th. However, the people waited for nearly 26 days as the counting took place only on May 2nd. This election was symbolic, being the first since the passing of political stalwarts Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi. The DMK clinched 133 seats on its own, while the DMK front won 159 seats. DMK President M.K. Stalin became the Chief Minister.